I'm on the ball today. I even felt exempted from the law today. It's like this revelation dawned on me. It's so amazing, help support the cause. I get everyone involved. I feel like I'm on the ball today. I even felt exempted from the law today. It's like this revelation dawned on me. It's so amazing, help support the cause. I get everyone involved.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yes, we are all dancing here. What a great addition to the Huddle. Happy Wednesday. Good morning, Lori. Welcome back. Good morning, Shay. How are you guys doing today?
Really great. Thank you. Coming to you from Orlando. I got SeaWorld outside.
Orlando. Are you going to SeaWorld? Or are you just...
No, I'm here for a conference.
You're having fun. Maybe the conference was at SeaWorld. I don't know. Listen, the new work world, which we're going to talk about, is obviously
Who knows these days? We just go ride roller coasters and talk
Hey,
shit.
listen,
I haven't
we'll get
noticed,
there.
but the picture that we used for Dad, his arms look gigantic. He looks like he has Popeye's arms, and I guess I'm the one in charge of that. I mean, listen, I'm just maybe patting my own back for that one. But if it's your first time watching, I am Jake Nudelberg, the Director of Success at On the Ball, and we are joined by the CEO of Junior Achievement South Florida, Lori, and of course our Director of Making It Happen, Shay. Mark and Steve won't be back till Monday, so I'm in the host seat tomorrow with Mark. Oh, look who it is. Good morning, sir. Can't hear you. Maybe he'll tune in. We're on the way to Amerant Bank to do a bunch of work with them. I know he spent, I don't think we have the picture, but it was a Nudelberg day with the cup yesterday, which he won't get to.
I could load it, but it's not his show. So
listen, he got to hang out with the cup yesterday. I got to hang out with the cup last week. My stepbrother, Jake Fields, was drinking out of the cup yesterday. So I would tell you, this is obviously our first experience winning a Stanley Cup. I didn't realize it's such a community trophy that everybody gets to share in it. When your city wins it, it's always around. It's around for months. Obviously, we haven't won a Super Bowl, but I know winning an NBA championship, you don't see the trophy. You don't get to touch it. It's not in restaurants consistently. So it's really cool that this is really like a city championship. Have you gotten the chance to be around it yet, Lori?
I have not. No, I have not. But you're right, because I think about basketball, right? When the Heat won, those few times there's a parade and then that's it. You never see it again unless you're a season ticket holder and you go to an event.
Correct. And it's always behind ropes and you don't get to touch it or get near it or breathe on it. This one, everybody's drinking out of, is kissing. So it is, listen, I've made a few questionable jokes about the trophy and its decisions, but anyways, I want to give this an opportunity for you to kind of talk about what, being a part of 1,000 episodes means to you. You didn't get to, I know you sent in a video or in the comments yesterday, but you are obviously a part-time host of us, like I am. So what does the Huddle mean to you? What does it mean to host it, the community? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I was thinking about, I saw Mark's post about it and consistency. For me, it's of course it is about consistency when you do 1,000 of anything, but I also think for me, what struck me was the commitment, right? There was a commitment at the very beginning for Dad, Dad and then Mark and how they started. It was a commitment to help people get better, right? It was a commitment to help people grow, to build a community. And what I love about it is, there's so many of these things, and Mark said something about it yesterday, or Dad said something about it. It isn't to sell. There are things you can do, right? They're in the links are there, and Mark will mention them. I went to, and I say this because I went to a big conference, like a Tony Robbins conference last week. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like I was being sold to all day long. And I just was walked out feeling like, ugh. And I don't think there's anybody who feels that way about this. The true commitment of all of us to helping people and learning from each other and learning from this community and teaching and helping them. I know that's what strikes me. And I'm so privileged. I love being a part of it. So thank you.
Awesome. That way to conceptualize exactly what this is about and why we do this. And I watched a video this morning of a guy talking about how it's important for us to teach our kids to create value before creating wealth. and in this country, it's kind of different. And he goes, but just building that foundation of providing value, of being a good person, of having a higher purpose. And it's funny, we were even, and we're totally transparent. We were talking with a guy who focuses on podcasts, and that's kind of his role on growing podcasts and how you want to do it. And he goes, I love that you guys, or he goes, I only work with people who actually do it to create value. Like that's their calling, because that's my calling. And so I only want to help the people that are genuinely doing it that way. And so for us to genuinely come off as someone who didn't know us and talking about growing it and why we want to grow it, it is so that we can reach more people, create a bigger impact. So it is cool that you get to be a part of it. And, and we at least got your picture up there now. It's thanks to Shay. We all in our daily huddle.
Listen, my guns look pretty good too. I have a really good trainer too.
You went to the doctor and they gave you some good news too, right? They said
the doctor even said when he was like doing all my tests and all that, and he was like, "Wow, you're feeling a little firm here." Yeah. I went to the gym last night here at the hotel, so thanks, Jake.
Well, good. So like we do on the previous 1,000 shows, and we will do for the next 1,000 shows, let's wake them up and then get into content. It is. We do have to talk about it. It is 9/11, a day that will live in infamy, obviously, for all of us. And you and I were just talking about it. I was super young. I mean, I remember being 3 when it happened. I vaguely remember my parents picking me up, sitting on the couch, watching it. And I know you guys, who were obviously a lot older, remember exactly where you were, what that day was like, what that day means to us, what the world looks like after it. And so thoughts and prayers to anybody who was affected that day, anybody who knows somebody who was affected. I know every day it rolls around, it doesn't get easier, and I will actually be in New York this weekend, kind of coincidentally. So I know that they'll have events throughout the week, and I've happened to be there multiple times. And at the swamp, all the firefighters put on their gear and walk the swamp. So it is a real tradition every year. And so just want to make sure that we talk about it. And I don't know if you have any thoughts before we kind of move on, but.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I remember exactly where I was, but I think what I think is most important about this day, of course, remembering those who lost their lives, but is how the country came together. Mm-hmm. And when I look at where we are today, right, compared to when something happens to us, mm-hmm. right, we all came together, and it felt that way for quite a long time, right, that we just united. And I just think that's really worth noting.
A really good point, especially obviously, I'm sure everybody watched the debate last night. I'm not getting into politics. I don't like having political conversations, but it is a reminder that we do have some common goals. We do live under one roof per se, and we are trying to, keep the American dream alive and all that. But I do think our daily thought kind of talks to the importance of living in a certain way. And so, Shay, if you could pop that up, and Lori, do the honors.
Time is the only currency you spend without knowing your balance. Use it wisely.
Yeah, I think, it was Lance Armstrong. We saw him, a few weeks ago, and he talked about living 76 different years, not the 76 or not 76 of the same years, through your life. And I think it's so important to evaluate on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, on how you're spending your time, where you're spending it, who you're spending it with, and what you're spending it on, because you're not going to get it back, and yes, it's good to evaluate it, but also not dwell on what you did, good or bad. It's kind of that forward facing thing. And so I think that was just really important, because obviously all those who perished that day had no idea that they were going to work for the last time. And every day I think of the school shooting that just happened as well. Like, we do not know, and nothing is guaranteed, and the car accidents that happen every day and all the terrible things that can happen. Make sure you're living the life that you want to in an important way. But we're going to get to some more positive notes today. I am a tennis guy. Those of you who know me know I'm a big, big, big tennis guy. And now it is my show, so I'm going to talk about the U.S. Open a little bit.
I knew when I got that. I was like, Jake wrote this.
To be fair, my father wrote it into yesterday's show, but did not fit. And it might have even been on Monday's show, but it did not fit. And if you followed the U.S. Open at all, you probably heard about the honeydews. And I don't know if you're a drinker or anything like that, but this is probably the most famous drink in the world at the current moment. And I think it's interesting to see how it's evolved. And they posted it. There's a picture of me drinking it 3 years ago, which was kind of a coincidence because he wrote it into yesterday's show. And my memory from 3 years ago yesterday was the honeydews, me drinking it. So that is kind of what the actual drink is. It's Grey Goose, lemonade, Chambord, honeydew, and it's actually wild. So they did 450,000 of them were sold last year. Do you know how many they sold this year? With a price increase, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big price increase. I don't know, like $1 million or something.
They sold 560,000 this year. So they had an increase of $2 million in revenue year over year. They sold an extra 100,000 of these. Back in 2007, it was $12 to buy one. And this year, do you know how much it was?
$23.
$23 for one drink of lemonade and probably a shot of vodka, So I think it's an interesting marketing lesson, right? It's because it's part of the experience. What are you doing to create this better experience? And when you create an experience, people are willing to pay more, right? And want to be a part of it. Have you ever been to the U.S. Open?
I have.
You have? When did you go?
I believe it was back around 2000, 2001, somewhere around there. Okay. Got to I actually have it. The big tennis balls they sell? Yeah. I have one signed by Serena Williams from going. And I remember it was so funny. So being from New York, I went with 3 other women who are not from New York. And so we're going through the subway and, getting to Flushing from Manhattan and all that. And they're all like there's performers and street entertainers everywhere. And they're all looking at me like, oh my God, like what is, and I'm like, ladies, enjoy the journey. And, till this day, when I see them, we all talk about the journey.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's how we looked at it. So, yeah, it was a great experience.
I love that you talked about it because this was the first time since 2002 that 2 Americans were in the final in the men's and the women's side. And Shay, I think we actually have a picture of 2002 of who the players were and what they looked like at the time. If you could pop that up. This is Williams sisters.
It was Agassi, yeah.
And Agassi and Sampras, right? So obviously the tennis world looked vastly different back then. The Williams sisters no longer play. Agassi, Sampras no longer play. But this year was Taylor Fritz on the men's side, who obviously lost to Jannik Sinner, who is probably the best player in the world at the current moment. And then on the women's side, Jessie Pegula. And if I don't know if anybody saw Jessie Pegula or understands Jessie Pegula's story, it's actually a really interesting one. She is the daughter of billionaire Pegula family who owns the Bills, the Sabres. She's massively wealthy, right? And everybody always kind of gives her shit that she comes from money, and everyone thinks she has a butler and she bought her way onto this tennis tour. And so for the US Open, she took the subway every single time to the match. She's got her hood on, she's got her backpack, she's traveling with her team, and she's sitting, she's talking about it, and people were, like I said, saying that she bought her way on the tour. And then all the players started defending her and go, you can't buy your way to the final of the US Open, and she's got this grit and this fight, and the announcers are talking about it. And I thought it was a really interesting lesson of it doesn't matter where you come from or your monetary background, like success is the success. And the traits that you need in order to be successful, being a fighter, evolving your game and continuing to work harder. And she struggled this year and came back from injury. You have to have those things no matter what monetary background you come from, because eventually success will run out if you don't have those, would be my opinion. I don't know if you believe the same thing, but
I think more so in sports, I would 100% agree. I don't know in business if you inherit a business, right?
Well, listen, if you inherit $1 billion, it's easier, but
Right.
you have to be successful. And I would challenge you on that you can inherit a business and run it straight into the ground. If
Well, you
you
could. I was just going to say you could inherit a business if you have the right people around you. The business will survive, right? You may not be an individual success,
right.
so I would agree with that.
Yeah, you got to get the right coaches. You got to make sure you're developing the right habits. So I just thought it was interesting. Too bad they didn't win. Both of them did lose. So the quest for another American major will go on, which in my opinion, you won't get it very much. But anyways, we're going to throw it back. One of my favorite songs, honestly, for motivational music, kind of talks about the old days. So let's play that. And then we have some content about the new Rush Hour.
Yeah.
Hit the wall, she never had it all. One Prozac a day, husband's a CPA. Her dreams went out the door when she turned 24. Only been with one man, what happened to her plan? She was gonna be an actress, she was gonna be a star. She was gonna shake her ass on the hood of Whitesnake's car. Her yellow SUV is now the enemy. Looks at her average life and nothing has been alright since Bruce Springsteen, Madonna, way before Nirvana. There was U2 and Blondie, and music still on MTV. Her 2 kids in high school, they tell her that she's uncool, cause she's still preoccupied with 1985.
I love that video.
Do you know that song?
I do.
Okay, good. I'm just making sure. Listen, I'm just making sure. There are some songs that get played on here that I don't know. Listen, and it happens a lot, you know?
I never saw the video, but I know the song.
It's a good one. It's definitely a good one. So anyways, there is a new rush hour. We are living in a new age. The rush hour is no longer 9 to 5, or the rush hour is no longer 9 and 5, and the day is no longer 9 to 5. Rush hour is starting to show that the new commuting data is 10 to 4, or the workday is 10 to 4, being rush hour at 10, at noon, and then also at 4. They said there's never been more of a rush at lunchtime, which means that people are not in the office, right? Is that right? Do I have that correct?
And they're not at home working either.
Not at the home either, right? So what are they doing? Are they changing because people are being too lenient on them? Or is the flexibility bad? I don't know, because I don't know that this is a sustainable model, that people can continuously not be efficient at work, because that's what it sounds like to me.
I mean, listen, I think, the inefficiencies are going to catch up with you. They're going to catch up with the company. So, we try to be flexible because, first of all, a lot of us are forward facing because we deal with the kids every day.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on the position. At the end of the day, if they're not hitting their goals and their KPIs and achieving what they need to achieve and supporting the rest of the team, right? It isn't just about your KPIs, but if you're not there supporting everybody else, it shows. You're not going to last. So I think it depends on the culture of the company.
Right. And I think, I don't know, it's interesting because you probably have a culture where some people are in the office all the time and others are not, right? And you're seeing others coming and it's distracting. And now what are they calling it? Coffee badging?
Oh, I love that term.
That's the term, right? Is that you're coming in to pretty much get a free cup of coffee is the term, and there was another term that they use, like your jacket over your seat syndrome or something, was like what a professor used, is like you're always ready to leave or something, in that way. I know for me, I love the flexibility of being able to work anywhere, to pop my computer open, to go downstairs, which is our office here. But I agree with you, is you have to be really good with your meeting cadence, I think, and the way that you are communicating with the people you report to, of, live documents, or there has to be a consistent communication strategy that you set, right? And I think that's the leader's job, to be like, hey, look, I understand that you don't want to be here, which means I'm not going to see you as much, or whatever that might be. So, hey, I need a video at the end of the day as a wrap up. or there has to be some tools or guidelines or bumpers put in that both sides are getting what they want, right? There has to be this give and take, I think, an understanding of, hey, I understand. And I've even talked to people who are starting to change it. They've tried something and it didn't really work for them. And now they're going to kind of be like, hey, look, can you give me a little bit and I'll give you this, and it's kind of this trade-off now where I think we've gone through enough of a time period where we've tried things, and for some it's going to work and some for not. You have to have some flexibility on both sides.
Yeah, I think, for us, I can tell you, we have 60 people now. And what most people want is to know that they have that flexibility of, it's more around family, I find. Okay. Right. That if my kid is sick, I can leave and go pick them up. Right. I have to tell you, I look around at that 60 people. We don't have anybody who doesn't want to be there.
Right.
We are a team. We are I use the word family, right, in that sense of, right, we don't have to be together, right, like a team, but family, you have to. But everybody wants to be a part of this. Right. It's no fun. We don't have, and I think part of it is how you're recruiting, how you're hiring, the attitude of people. Right. We don't have anybody. We don't have anybody that said, I don't want to be here. Right. All I've ever heard is, no, we just want to know that if my family needs me or, I need to travel for some reason, I have that flexibility.
Right. It's interesting. Like one of the statistics that they use is that like 58% of hybrid workers admit that they check in and then check out within an hour. That's insane to me. Because that's why. Why is that? Why are you going then? Like, is that a mandatory thing from the leader that they want you to show up and then you're able to go do it? Like there has to be some consistency and common sense on how we're doing this, right? A little bit. But it all depends on the industry and understanding what, just the different industries require different things, and stuff.
Yeah. And, listen, I know you may not agree with what I'm going to say, but you have to determine what is best for your company and for your business, for each position within that business. And you know what? It's okay to say, I'm sorry, because if you want to work remote 100% of the time, that just doesn't work for us. Like you've got to know what your guardrails are. You've got to know what you need and what you want. I'm not talking about being inflexible, right? But you've got to know what's necessary to build your culture and for your company to be successful. And I think the hiring and recruiting process, knowing exactly what you need and what you want is important.
Amen. Well, I'm not coming to your office anytime soon. I like working with you. So
I know. We would never hire you.
I know you hire me. Yeah, it's too bad. Anyways, great show, Lori. Thank you for being here. Good luck at your conference today.
Thank you.
Have a great day in Orlando and safe travels back. I will see you later. Shout out the Brightline. Thank you guys for joining us. I'll be back tomorrow with Mark. He's at Leadership Broward right now, if you were curious where he is. If you're looking for a community of like-minded people to develop every day, Get on the Ball is for you. Eat, Drink, Think is at the end of the month. I think we still have a few spots open, so join the wait list. If you need any help at all, you know where to reach us, and let's get down to business.
Have a great day.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business.